If you are a crafter that loves to create 3D stamped dimensional flowers, join me and we'll learn how to create these beautiful one-of-a-kind sweet peas in multiple ways and how to do an ombre coloring technique. To get started, we're going to be coloring the sweet pea, which has two different sizes, and then a smaller kind of calyx and two sets of leaves, and you can cut those out with a coordinating die. So for the first basic flower that we'll shape with the mold, I'm just stamped in rose madder and am inking around the edges with the rose madder just for some quick and easy coloring. So this is just a basic coloring technique. If you want to have just those soft pastel sweet pea flowers. Once you're finished with that, you can always experiment with more of what I call an ombre coloring technique, which is using the cactus flower and forget-me-not, or you can use different color combinations and choices. So you'll start out with using the cactus flower, and I'll just kind of choose 2 to 3 spots per petal. And we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. I just really love this combination of coloring. It just adds kind of a soft multicolored hue in the background after you shape them and paired it with some glitter and all those fun techniques. So we're going to go ahead and now bring in the forget-me-not. Now when you blend that with the cactus flower, you'll notice that there's just a little bit of a purplish hint that kind of comes in the middle as well. So you'll just do that on both sides, and then you're ready to do your shaping and start gluing those flowers together. To do the basic shaping technique, you're just going to go ahead and put these into the coordinating shaping mold. Missed a little bit of flour, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I did use the deluxe flower shaping paper as my base to stamp these on so that you have a very sturdy flower that shapes very beautifully. If you haven't used this yet, that is a cardstock that we carry that crafters all around the globe just rave about. So we're going to run that through and do that basic shaping technique. When that comes out, just bring it out and we'll show you how to glue this together. Now, I would say just practice with this one. This is obviously the basic shaping technique, but you have 2 pieces. So when you have 2 pieces, you'll want to be a little bit more patient with yourself. But what I do is I just bring this up and pretty much fold that in half, and then I bring this piece in. And you'll want to make sure that you also add some coloring on the back in case that does show. Now I'm going to bring in my hot glue gun, and we're going to add a kind of a strip of glue that comes a little bit up the sides, and then we're going to press this together, okay? And as that's pressing together in the middle, I do curve those petals out just a little bit, so that it's a little bit open on the top. Once that is glued, I do give it a little bit of time to just bond before I bounce on to the next section. So I'll lay that one aside, and again for this one, just fold that in half in the middle and then add a strip of glue to the sides, and you'll bring this in. So you have the 2 small petals on this side, and you'll just kind of bring this in on the opposite sides and push that up and together, okay? Now, sweet peas, if you look at photos, there's a lot of different ways you can shape these to get different effects, but I just kind of hold that bottom, and then if you want to pull it around a little bit in the top, you can, but each flower will look a little bit different just based on how that is pressed together, and then you can go back and glitter that. Our next step is doing another aspect to the shaping. For the second shaping technique, I'm adding a little bit more ruffles after I've ran it through with the shaping mold. So to do that, you'll use your golf shaping tool, And I'm going to go ahead and just go right in the middle of the petal and just kind of pull this up. So I ran it through my shaping mold first, and then I'm kind of doing a little bit more of a curve on each petal. This is totally optional, just adds an extra crease and ruffle into it. So that's just something to experiment with. If you are wanting to be adventurous, there's lots of ways to shape this and layer it together to create very unique and different looking flowers. So have fun using these tips and techniques, and also maybe trying some of your own. So this is how it's going to look. Don't be frightened if some of the petals are just kind of doing their own thing. I find that about halfway through making this flower, you might be like, oh my goodness, it doesn't look like it's turning out to be something. Just be patient with yourself, and also just remember your first flower will not look like your 10th flower. So I always like to do a bunch of flowers back to back, especially when I'm using a new shaping technique. Now, before I glue this together, I'm taking the center and I am just squeezing these together, and I am really kind of pinching so it's very pointy in the base. So just kind of pinch those together. Don't be concerned about squishing it too much. Then you can open that back up. We're going to add some glue into the center so that can catch it. We'll close this up, and I'll just hold it a little bit. And the cardstock is still a little bit moist, so that helps you to pinch it a little bit better at the base. When you do that, if you find that it dries, you can always kind of add some more mist to the top. I'm just squeezing these petals a little bit. That is totally optional if you wanted to do that. Okay, so this one, same thing. You're going to go ahead, and before you add any glue, not only pinching it half, but you're going to kind of crumple it at the base so that gets a little bit more crinkles in there. So that is really kind of pointy. It's very squeezed, a little bit tattered. You can just open this back up, add some glue in there, and I actually find the two smallest sides, and I kind of pinch this together and just nestle that right in the front and just kind of lay that right underneath those two little petals, okay? So it's going to be pointy and look a little bit ugly on the bottom, which is totally what you want. And then you can go back and you can layer these together with a grouping of flowers, your leaves, and just have some fun pairing those together or adding them onto wires. There are many variations on how you can layer these together, whether you want to add it to a flower pot or just have them singularly on a card. So with this one, we created an easel card which props up. I love how that turned out. We used the Sweet Pea Stamps dies, and then we also use the classic floral vase. So don't forget your main accents as backgrounds that really bring this all together. There's a sentiment in here also called "Have a Sweet Day." So we'll take another look at some more ways you can use these flowers on your 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch cards all the way up to your 6 by 6 and larger projects. You can also use these vases, make them smaller by having them go off the side of the card. You can add these flowers to wires and just look at all the different ways you can color it. So you're not limited with coloring. There's some beautiful background stamping. Now, we have these accents that just really make it all come together, and it's the Vining Sweet Pea. The Vining Sweet Pea has two different images that really adds those beautiful accents to creating those bouquets and adds the finishing touch. And you'll also see it on this particular card as well, where I just grouped the flowers, added the decorative accent piece in the background. So lots of ways to use that. The decorative accent piece is with this vase die right here, in case you missed that. So lots of variations on how you can layer these together, just based on how you color it, how you shape it. And you don't have to do a lot of dimension on these too. You can also use the calyx as a flower. You can use it as a flower bud if you want. I did that on this little cluster right here. So lots of variations of how you can shape those. And that all comes in the main Sweet Pea set. Here it is just a tone-on-tone white. Here you have it with some beautiful lavenders with green centers. And here it's a little bit more of a version of a less dimension. So just have some fun experimenting with different color combinations, using those backgrounds, and that will really bring it together. I love the variations of colors on this one, all the way to soft pastel blues. Here's the vase with a sentiment. I think this vase would be really cute with a cutout in the center as well. So just have some fun using your creative imagination, very simply adding some of those vining backgrounds. And you can also use this on layouts as well. Speaking of layouts and papers, this collection of papers, it is super pretty, lots of pastel floral colors in pinks, lavenders, soft greens. You've got your little flower sprays spread out throughout this entire collection, as well as images you can die cut out that are all colored for you. So I can't wait for you to experience the joy of creating with these beautiful sweet peas. As you can see, there are many color combinations and variations for shaping the sweet pea, whether you do it with the shaping mold or by hand. So have fun creating your own one-of-a-kind sweet peas the easy way. If you don't have this collection yet, I've added the links below for quick and easy ordering. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to do that so you don't miss out on my next videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you next time. Bye.